All right, welcome back to the Buffalo Plus channel. Mike Catalana, I'm Jenna Cottrell. We're here in Orchard Park, ready to talk about what went down today. But before we do, please be sure to like, comment, as well as subscribe if you enjoy our content.
Hang on, before you get started, where are we right now? Specifically, where are we right now?
We are in the atrium of the facility in between.
Fieldhouse, yeah, where they're working out. Why are we inside here?
Because we don't have 3 winter jackets to put on. It is literally snowing out right now.
It snowed. It's April. It snowed while we were here, but that's fine. That's besides the point.
As I say, all right. A lot to go through today.
Yeah,
we talked about draft, we talked to McDermott, we talked to Josh Allen, Micah Hyde, but we also got to talk to Damar Hamlin. He's 25 years old. He talked about what the experience was like in his own words. I mean, his journey, the story is incredible.
We've seen him all over the place, right? Yeah. Because he has been such an advocate for what happened to him and helping other people. But I got to tell you, Jenna, and I don't know if you felt this way, when he walked in that room today to start that news conference, it felt really like something. We're seeing him in person sit there and talk to us. Again, we've seen him a lot, but since that night, we really haven't had an opportunity to see him in person. And I thought he was so composed, so thoughtful, so, again, talking about other people and the impacts had on other people. I thought it was kind of incredible to see that today.
I felt the exact same way. I mean, he's 25 years old, and to have the perspective that he has, I mean, a life-changing experience. He literally talked about how he died on the field on national TV.
When he used those words, you and I talked about this, like we've heard other people talk about it, reference it. Other people have said specifically what happened, right? Yeah. He had to be brought back. When you hear a man say, I died on the field, that is really incredible. And now it's 106 days later, and he's cleared to be back with his teammates.
I literally just got chills again. And he talked about wanting to pay it forward and using CPR training in youth sports and still trying to figure out exactly how he wants to repay everyone. I mean, he talked about his doctors, the medical staff, just the Bills organization. He also spoke about how his doctors all unanimously said he was ready to go, fully clear type of thing. And then also how they encouraged him to get back to football and to his teammates because of the mental aspect. And I think that is something that we will have to really continue to talk and ask him about, because physically, when you go through something like that, that's the threshold of okay, physically you're better, but at the same point, that mental component, I know for some people, when I went through with my health history, mentally, I think sometimes that's when you see, it can be really a tough experience in that way.
And especially where, what he went through was based on a hit. Now, it was a unique hit. He described it all today too, but that was something that happened to him on the field, physically happened during a game. As far as the way he is too, like he did say, as far as lifting weights and all those kind of things, he's kind of starting from scratch again to be back to being a football player, not just to be, Okay, so we're in the atrium here, and the Orchard Park softball team is practicing inside, and a young lady was coming in here to join her teammates. So Jenna, being the former high school athlete herself, led her back inside the building.
It's so cold, she didn't have on a jacket.
That was very nice of you.
The city of good neighbors.
Exactly. We got to help out this way. And it's like Jay's over here. He's trying to protect us from, we were too loud for them, and now he's being nice to us. And then we're just trying to stay out of the way. That's what we're doing.
He's just smiling and nodding, and that's what I do to you.
I get a lot of that.
All right, we talked about Damar, just what his story is like, but we even talked to his teammates. I mean, Josh Allen talked about it as well. We did get to hear from him today, too, just about seeing Damar, having him back in the building, all of those things. But Josh, are we going to say an older and wiser Josh Allen?
Well, he's going to be 27 years old in May, practically ancient. It is kind of funny, though, when he does say, wow, 6 years have gone by, not specifically to his age, but when you think about it, Josh Allen is 6 years in the NFL.
Crazy.
It is something, and he is not young, he's not a couple of years in. He's in that second contract, he's a star player and all those things. So it's the adapting to being a little bit older. And I think last year he learned some lessons.
Yeah.
about the way he needs to play. He's heard it a million times, protect yourself. He used the word careless today. Yeah. And I actually asked him about it. I said, I've never heard you use that. He was talking about losing the football, fumbles, interceptions, that type of thing, but also physically being a little careless and how you have to protect yourself a little bit. I think it's a great thing if he recognizes that, because he used the phrase, your best ability is your availability. He's got to stay on the football field for this team. There's no doubt about it. And there were times last year with the elbow getting banged up and taking some of the other hits. When he puts himself at risk, he puts the team at risk.
Two things that stuck out to me. One, he said he has to think of himself as a quarterback first and football player second, which we know, knowing Josh and his competitive spirit.
Explain that to somebody a little bit, and maybe they're like, well, wait a minute. But it's not really the same thing, right?
No, same, but different. It's like, when you think of a quarterback, they're the general of the team. They're the guy that's, making smart decisions. And maybe in some plays, it's like past rookie Josh Allen would reach out and go for the extra 2 yards and take a big hit. Whereas when you're thinking of it as a quarterback, you want to limit the big hits. You are confident. You're trusting your guys.
And just real quick, when they say 111th, we all realize the quarterback is not 111th. No. This quarterback is not. I'm sorry, but he's not. And I think his realization of that is important. He's never going to say it that way, but come on, Josh has to stay on the field. So that was the one point that you noticed.
My second one was him saying this is the most motivated and focused he's been going into a season. And I think a lot of that has to do with the way last season ended and how it kind of was a reality check for this entire team of, you can be really good. You can go 13-3 and all this stuff, but it doesn't matter how how you start the season. It's really what you do. And he's like, we want to end that last game with a win.
Yeah, and it wasn't just a loss. It was a bad loss. It was a bad loss in many ways. And I think they feel that more. But I thought that would be the case. Come back with a different type of focus for this coming season. It is all different than it was before. Okay. He was asked about his wide receiver, Stefon Diggs. And he's like, Steph's a competitor, said all those things. What do you think?
Steph's just being Steph. That's what he said. Love that guy. Steph's just being Steph.
Did he say, we've hung out, we've talked? I don't know why this matters to me, but they seem so tight, and there seems to be something there. Maybe they just needed a little time apart here, a little bit. I don't know. At this moment, now we're recording this, they're just starting their workouts. Diggs wasn't here yet. We don't know when he's coming. It is voluntary. It's not even about that. It's about what the other guys talk about, being around the guys. I don't know. When it's wide receivers in the NFL, I'm always thinking there's always seems to be something, and I'm not making a bigger deal out of it. But come on, it's Josh Allen and Stefon Diggs.
To your point, I will say I would have thought that I would have already seen like a post between the two of them, or like, Diggs coming out and saying, of course he's my guy, like all this stuff. Or, we've heard it from Allen just today, but it's interesting, I think. And I think it will continue to be something we talk about until, you see them both on the same field laughing and joking and being that relationship.
On my 1 to 10 scale of what it would be, it's at about a 2.5.
I was going to say, it was like maybe 3 tops.
Yeah, I'm not sitting there going, plus he's not going anywhere. Diggs isn't going anywhere. There just was so much with social media and all that. And maybe, what did Diggs say the one time? Stay off my Twitter. I got to stay off of his Twitter. Now, the fourth thing you wanted to talk about in terms of Josh was him not wearing a hat today for the news conference.
I've literally never seen Josh Allen do a media availability without a hat on.
I know. It was kind of wild, right? He's going for the different look.
Some are saying he looked like Mose Schrute from The Office.
He does run like him a little bit, doesn't he?
It was so bizarre. I almost wanted to ask him about it.
Did you forget your hat? Yeah.
Well, because he wasn't wearing a hat and then turned back around when he was walking into the room. He turned around and I'm like, oh, he's going to get a hat. And then he didn't. And I was like,
it's a new Josh. It's the 27-year-old Josh.
He's not even 27 yet.
Not yet, but he's pushing towards that. So other than that, I thought everything he said was right on point about the draft. He watches. But, there's only so much. But believe me, he said, I'll be happy for whoever's there.
Yeah.
I think he'll be happy if the guy plays offense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Offensive line, wide receiver, running back, whatever it is.
But that brings us to Brandon Beane and what he had to say. And he said there weren't a whole lot of first-round grades which is not that shocking. I feel like they say that every year. But he talked about how Mike is the best player available.
Yeah. I mean, that is the phrase, right? They all said it. Even jokester Sean McDermott said that's what everybody says, best player available. Future general manager Von Miller said that, best player available.
Yeah.
It is the case, is what you do. Now, he did say, Beane said, hey, everybody's going to do their mocks. They're going to say the Bills and talked about offense and doing it. Look, I think the preference would be to help the offense in the draft. I really do think it is.
Yeah.
But you do have to say to yourself, don't reach for a wide receiver
Yeah.
and then turn around and miss out on somebody else, and maybe you could get a comparable player later in the second round. I still believe that the trade back option is absolutely there for a team with only 6 picks and picking 27th. And that's going to be a frustrating night again. But I think unless somebody falls or somebody they only have to move a few spots up to get, I think that's absolutely going to be an option for them at 27. He didn't give crazy insight in this.
Well, yeah.
There's only so much
you
he's going to be able to say.
Exactly. You can only expect so much. But I will say, after talking to him today, I felt like, ooh, maybe it is more of a possibility than I was even thinking of the moving back portion, of the getting more picks. Currently, they only have 6, like you talked about.
Yep.
And while I am saying offense, get a weapon, get even an offensive lineman to help out all this stuff, I wouldn't be shocked if they did go defense. I mean, Beane was asked about the position group that needs attention, and
Defensive line, defensive tackle.
they've taken so many swings.
But Ed Oliver's in the last year of his deal at the D tackle spot, and they really don't have other guys there. The guys are going to be free agents. There is going to be a big turnover in that position. So it's you never know what's going to happen that night, right? Because especially when you're drafting late in the round. I asked him about what's it like to trade back, because I found this to be fascinating. In the old days, it used to be rounds 1, 2, and 3 on the first day. So it's just one round.
You love talking about the old days.
Well, it has changed the draft, right? Because for fans, when you're watching that night, in the old days, if they traded back, you're like, okay, quickly, we got 2 picks in the second round. But man, now you're waiting overnight. But for Beane, what he said was, if we did do that, now you've likely gotten an earlier pick in the second round. Now you look at that board again. Now you know what you're dealing with. Now if you want to make a move in that second round, you've got more ammunition to do it. And you've got a whole overnight. And he said we might even look at tape again. So I think they have to be prepared for that. And I think fans need to be prepared for that too. You're going from 27 back, but you may add another pick. So let's see what happens when, it's a week from Thursday.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
That to me, I'm like,
it'll probably be snowing again.
Don't you put that out
I
there.
know.
Yeah, honestly, it was so cold. Like, I needed hand warmers today.
Yeah.
All right, let's wrap up really quick. We do want to talk about Sean McDermott, though. He spoke today. He was asked a little bit about, taking over the responsibilities as play caller on defense.
How about the smile on his face when he was asked about it? Started to be asked about being the defensive coordinator.
It was sweet.
And he's smiling.
Yeah.
And he's like, and then he admitted, this is, and what did all the players say? Micah Hyde, they're all like, that's Sean. And Von Miller even said, Sean's been in on all this stuff. This isn't like he's coming back in. Like he's in on it. They know he's jacked up to do this. He's excited. He mentioned his staff and everything. But that Sean, I got a bowl of Raisin Bran smile on his face. He's really happy when he talks about being a defensive coordinator.
And I think that's the thing. He's always been involved, but I mean, this is how, what's the saying? He cut your teeth. Cut your teeth. This is why he is a head coach, is because of the success that he had at defensive coordinator with Carolina and before that with the Eagles. So I think you can tell he is very much excited. He actually also was asked about Ken Dorsey and how much, from year 1 to year 2 in terms of what he went through and what he learned as a defensive coordinator, and how that can be, the same in terms of Dorsey and now entering his second season. I thought that was interesting too, where he was like, look, he self-reflected. He looked at what he needed to do. He feels like he's learned a lot, which I always think that's the approach to have. But then it's like, okay, you can have the approach of these are the things that I want to adapt and change and all this stuff, but you got to actually do that.
You got to do it. Yeah, you got to do it. And they're all being tested, right? Smiley and the special teams. And certainly Dorsey and even McDermott now calling plays. But I think there'll be a different type of energy with the coaching staff this year. I just think the changes made it, some new faces in. So we'll see what happens when, again, it's all voluntary right now. These are workouts. Even the guy said, there's no football going on.
No, yeah.
I mean, it's mostly hanging out and checking in and doing some stretching and lifting weights. And, it's like we do all day.
I will say Von Miller here.
He's fun.
He's also just like a machine about it. He's like, I'll be good. My knee, I've been through this. Like, I feel as good as I can feel.
Did you hear what he said, though? He asked about coming back, and he said early in the season.
Yes.
I kind of like that there's not this focus on week one.
Yeah.
Because while week one is this thing in everybody's head, week 2 is one of the least important weeks of the year. I'm not even talking about who they play.
Yeah.
I'm saying is if you look at it on the scale of the season, it's like week 2, okay. But it's this idea, I'm going to be back for the first game.
Yeah.
Von needs to be back when he's ready, and I think he will be. He said,
I agree.
I'll be ready in that case. I think it becomes then sort of what we went through with Trey last year in terms of like he thought his focus was being back for the first game, and then it got pushed back. And these are tough things to come back from, but Von's happy. He's the most content guy.
Year 13.
And he's 34 years old. Wow. Now, he is getting older, but he looks like he's falling apart. Please.
Also, can I say I just don't want the Bills to play on Thanksgiving this year?
They can't.
2 years ago.
3 out of 4 years. On
2 years ago, Trey White tore his ACL.
Oh, yeah,
Last year, Von Miller tore his ACL.
More for us.
Oh, I mean that too.
Yeah.
Micah was asked about playing in London and having the family go out, and they were like, "Yeah, we'll travel after." And he's like, "Whoa! I have a game to play."
Yeah, they may travel. He's going to be coming back. So
I'm trying to think other notes. Josh Allen said Von Miller and him will be at the PGA Championship in Rochester next month, so that'll be pretty cool.
Some other guys there too.
I would imagine. Yeah,
that are coming down. So
I think any Sabres will be there.
Oh yeah, those guys all like to play.
Okay, I figured as much, but
but it's I mean, it is the PGA. And hopefully it's not snowing in Rochester.
Don't you it's going to be...
I'm just going to say
it will be beautiful. What? Don't put that out there.
No, I'm going to say it because I'll be wrong about it. So
no, it's going to be beautiful weather. I can't wait for Rochester to get some shine, and the weather will be great.
Yeah, it's fun when there's a big tournament.
Be Sean McDermott. The weather is the weather.
Yes.
The schedule is the schedule. Honestly, I say that to myself sometimes when I don't want to do stuff.
How often is that?
A lot. Okay.
Please make sure to
like, comment, subscribe if you enjoy our content. I always feel like I have to say that.
Wednesday, so that's a week from this Wednesday, the night before the draft, we're going to go 7 to 8 live on the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel. We'll be previewing what the Bills are doing. Mostly we're going to be answering your questions. Jenna, Dan, and myself, the three of us, all of us. I said Jenna like you weren't right here. The three of us all together, and you come with your questions, what you think they'll do, what you want them to do. We'll go in each position group, what we'll be talking about. So again, it is the night before the draft, Buffalo Plus YouTube channel from 7 to 8.
Love it.
Yeah, it's
We're going to have a bunch of fun stuff on the channel coming up. All right, for Mike and for Dan, who's back at the studio, I am Jenna. We'll catch you next time here on Buffalo Plus.